Alright guys, welcome back to this next Pokemon Go tier list video, and today the typing we are going to talk about is Ghost. Now the Ghost typing is a little bit smaller on terms of Megas and Legendary, however makes up for it in its normal types and its Shadow types, so let's get straight into this. So, as you can see on the screen, we do have the Pokemon that are on this list with the fast move and the charge move and the damage per second. I mostly do raid, so I don't really look at PvP. However, we will go over some Pokemon that will be good in PvP. But let's start off with the Megas, which aren't allowed. And the best Mega in the Ghost typing is Mega Gengar. Mega Gengar has a max CP of 4,902. with an attack stat of 349, a defense stat of 199, and a stamina of 155. This is obviously the best powerhouse in this typing, and also it does a lot of damage in raids, and it wrecks. If you have more than 6 people in a raid, and they all have Mega Gengars as their first Pokemon, you are slaughtering whatever Pokemon is in that raid. Weaknesses, so we do have Dark, Ghost, Ground and Psychic as its weaknesses, but then it also resists Fighting, Bug, Normal, Poison, Fairy and Grass. So a very good typing of Pokemon, obviously best one in the Ghost type, and also it does have a lot of stab moves. It has Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball, Lick, Hex and also Sludge Bomb. So a very good Pokemon to have in your party for raids, and when they bring back the Mega Day for PvP, it's also a great Pokemon to take into there. Now let's move on to the second Mega, which is Mega Banette. Now Mega Banette is obviously a worse Gengar, however it doesn't have that poison typing, which means it has less weaknesses and less resistances. So let's go into this. So Banette's max CP is 4,063 with an attack stat of 312, a defense stat of 160, and a stamina of 162. Stamina is HP, by the way, just to clarify. Now, still a very good Pokemon, second best in the Ghost typing, as all Megas will be. They will always be at the top. However, it does lose, obviously without having that poison type, it does only have 2 weaknesses, which is Dark and Ghost, and also resists Fighting, Normal, Bug and Poison. So a very good Pokemon to have in your party, as well as Mega Gengar. Obviously only one could be out at a time. However, there's a bit more diversity in this Pokemon. So you do have Hex and Shadow Ball as its best moves. However, you do also have Thunder and Dazzling Gleam, which if you are to have a third move on this Pokemon, you can have Thunder or you can also have Dazzling Gleam. It doesn't matter, just a nice variation of moves to be able to hit most Pokemon that you come up against. So let's get into the legendary Pokemon. Now for this typing, unfortunately there is only 3 Pokemon in this category. One of them is Giratina Origin Form with a max CP of 4,164, an attack stat of 225, a defense stat of 187, and a stamina of 284. However, due to the dragon typing, there is a lot of weaknesses for this Pokemon. So, its weaknesses are Dark, Dragon, Fairy, Ghost, and Ice types. No double weaknesses. However, due to its dragon typing as well, you get a lot of resistances. So, the normal ones from Ghost are Fighting, Normal, Poison, and Bug. However, you also get Electric, Fire, Grass, and Water. Very good resistances. Very good Pokemon to have in your party. Now, of the 2 forms, this is the best form. And we are going to go over the altered form now, which is this one. If you notice, the attack and defense stat are switched. So, Giratina Alt Form has a max CP of 3,820 with an attack stat of 187, a defense stat of 225, and a stamina of 284. Very high stamina and very high defense on this Pokemon, so it is there to last in battle. Same weaknesses due to its same typing. Very good. Also a very good Pokemon. However, it is obviously the weaker of the two. I do prefer to have an Origin form in my locker rather than having a altered form. Even though it only says there are 2 points, but that's quite a lot of damage overall. And then our final legendary, which is a mythical Pokemon, is Hooper Confined. Now, Hooper Confined has a max CP of 3,797 with an attack stat of 261, defense stat of 187, and a stamina of 173. This Pokemon, unfortunately, does have 2 double weaknesses, which is Dark and Ghost. So this Pokemon, if you come up against a Dark or Ghost move, you are getting taken out very fast. And it also has the normal resistances of Fighting, Normal, Poison, and Psychic. Bug has been replaced with Psychic there. Still a very good Pokemon, obviously has its unconfined form as well, but that is not on this tier list, unfortunately. So, out of the 3 legendary Pokemon, obviously Giratina Origin form being the best due to its moves of Shadow Claw and Shadow Force. However, Giratina Altered Form and Hooper are also good Pokemon in this category and this typing. Let's move on now into the normal Pokemon, and by normal I mean not Shadow, not Legendary, not Mega. Now, I am only going to go over 3 Pokemon in this list again, because there's not actually that many good Pokemon that are high up on this tier list. However, I will mention a few other Pokemon after it which you can replace if you don't have these Pokemon. Starting with the newest Pokemon to come into Pokemon Go, which is Goldengo, which actually says not found. So, this Pokemon is a Steel and Ghost type with a max CP of 3,976, an attack stat of 252, a defense of 190, and a stamina of 202. It has 4 weaknesses, which is Dark, Fire, Ghost, and Ground. However, when we talk about this Pokemon's resistances, it has a lot. So let's go down here. As you can see, it does resist Normal, Poison, Bug, Dragon, Fairy, Fighting, Flying, Grass, Ice, Psychic, Rock, and Steel. This Pokemon is probably one of the best defensive Pokemon out there with a really high attack stat. This Pokemon will be a meta in PvP for a long time coming, and that is why it's so high up on this list. It has a good survivability and also has a really good attack stat to go with it. Now, the moveset you want on this is Hex and Shadow Ball, and this should get you the max DPS you need for a raid or PvP. You could also use any of the other moves. However, it does not have a Steel Stab move as of yet, which I'm guessing will come during a comm day. So, if you look at the weaknesses here, you are weakness to Ground and Fire. So, I would say the best to go there would be Focus Blast. Because you do resist Dragon, so you don't need Fairy. So Focus Blast would be a good one to take down them ground type Pokemon you are going to be versing. The next Pokemon we're going to talk about is Chandelure, a Pokemon that has recently had a comm day. The max CP of this Pokemon is 3,695 with an attack stat of 271, a defense stat of 182, and a stamina of 155. This Pokemon's a really good Pokemon to have. It's a DPS, however, it is also a glass cannon. So you will be losing this Pokemon quite a lot in raids and PvP, but it will do a lot of damage in the process. Its weaknesses are Dark type, Ghost type, Ground type, Rock type, and Water type Pokemon. However, its resistances do kind of back it up, so it does resist Bug, Fighting, Normal, Fairy, Fire, Grass, Ice, Poison, and Steel type Pokemon. So still a very good Pokemon to have in your locker and in your party if you are looking to go into PvP. So, let's move on to its movesets. Now, Poltergeist did come out for its comm day, however, it does not make the top attacking movesets for this Pokemon. The best ghost type attacks you're looking at are Hex and Shadow Ball. Now you can use Overheat as a second charge move to be able to take down other Pokemon to come against. However, unfortunately, this does not take down any of these other than Ghost. So you will be looking at a downside from that. However, it is a really good Pokemon, and obviously with having a comm day, there should be a lot of candy and a lot of XL candy floating around for this Pokemon. Now, the third best Pokemon in this category is Gengar. Gengar is still one of the highest and most attacking Pokemon in the Ghost typing. Its normal CP is 3,254 with an attack stat of 261, a defense stat of 149, and a stamina of 155. Weaknesses are Dark, Ghost, Ground, and Psychic, and its resistances are Fighting, Bug, Normal, Poison, Fairy, and Grass. Like we went over before, it is a very good Pokemon to have. Obviously, it has a really good Mega. At the same time, it also does have some really good stab moves to add. However, the best moveset apparently for Gengar is Lick and Shadow Ball. However, the best moveset for Mega Gengar is Shadow Ball and Shadow Claw. I would always go for the best one for the Mega because you're going to be using the Mega more than normal. So, let's go over some of the Pokemon that you could potentially replace these Pokemon if you don't have a good Gengar or a good Chandelure. And obviously, Gholdengo is very hard to get hold of at the moment. So you are looking at Miss Magius, which also has a Shadow Pokemon, which is a very good Shadow Pokemon. Did come out with the Generation 4, so Sinnoh. However, its first evolution, Misdreavus, has been out since Johto. So a lot of candy should be around for this Pokemon, and if you haven't recently started, you should have quite a lot of this candy around with all the Halloween events that have been going on. Then you also have Banette, which is a very good Pokemon as well, with the moves of Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball. Obviously, that does have a Mega as well, however, its normal type Pokemon isn't the greatest. With its survivability, it does get taken down quite a lot. Now, speaking of Shadow Pokemon, let's go over the 3 best Shadow Pokemon in this category. And the best Shadow Pokemon in this category is Shadow Cursor. However, this Pokemon is not out yet on the game. However, it is a beast. Its max CP of 3,463, its attack stat of 253, defense of 182, and a stamina of 155. Weaknesses are the normal Ghost type weaknesses of Dark and Ghost, and then resistances of Fighting, Normal, Bug, and Poison. Now, this Pokemon does a lot of damage and also has a very good survivability. However, its movesets aren't that great. So Brine and Rock Blast, I would be, because you resist Bug, I'd be going for Brine here, as water type moves do hit a lot of Pokemon around. Second best Pokemon in this category that is out on the game is Shadow Miss Magius, and that we have just gone over Miss Magius, however we'll go over its stats now. Max CP of 2,957, an attack stat of 211, a defense of 187, and a stamina of 155 with the normal Ghost type resistances and weaknesses. This Pokemon is a very good Pokemon with the moveset of Hex and Shadow Ball. However, it does also have Dazzling Gleam. I would not recommend Frustration at all. It does have Dark Pulse as a second move, so you can use it against other Ghost type Pokemon, and it should do a really good helping. It can also take down them Psychic Pokemon if you are using a Gengar with this Pokemon. So you do have that additional attack of doing a lot more than most of the other Ghost type Pokemon there. Now, there are a few other Shadow Pokemon here. Shadow Banette is one of them. However, the survivability of that Pokemon, you will not get a lot from it. Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball However, its survivability is way down. Like way, its normal is like 330, which is very bad. However, this one has 390, so it has a better survivability than its normal counterpart due to the damage it is doing. However, if I am going to go for a Shadow Pokemon and I didn't have Miss Magius, I would probably go for the next two after this, which is Shadow Cofagrigus and Shadow Runigus. Now, Runigus and Cofagrigus do have the same stats and the same moveset of Shadow Ball and Shadow Claw. Same DPS, however, a much better survivability than any of these other Shadow Pokemon up here. So the stats of 163 attack, 237 defense, and 151 stamina. I do think these have actually changed. Last time I checked, they were the same, but I don't think they are actually the same. Obviously, one being from Galar and one being from Sinnoh, I think. These two Pokemon are really good. Due to their high defense, they do tank a lot of hits and you can get quite a bit of attack off. However, they are I've never seen these out in the wild, so maybe they're not out or haven't been out since they were released. So the Shadow Pokemon are up in the air because I don't remember seeing any of these in the recent pool. However, as a last Shadow Pokemon you could go for, and this is one that has been out for a long time, is Shadow Dusknoir. Now, obviously, Dusknoir did come out with the Sinnoh event. However, Duskull did come out with the Hoenn update, so there is a lot of candy for this Pokemon. Does have a max CP of 2,700, an attack stat of 180, defense of 254, and a stamina of 128. Weaknesses are the normal ghost type weaknesses. However, it does have a big it has a big charge moveset. Best one being Hex and Shadow Ball, and then the additional attack you could go with Psychic, and you can also go with Dark Pulse. So you do have two very good alternate charge attacks to take down those resistances. So a very good Pokemon to have as a backup Shadow Pokemon if you didn't have any of the others. So let's go over these best in each category. Now, unfortunately, the only one we're really going to have a problem with is Shadow. So let's go over this. The two best Megas in this category are Mega Gengar and Mega Banette. Mega Gengar being the best Mega out of the two due to the amount of damage you can do with it and its survivability. The best legendary Pokemon from this ghost typing is Giratina Origin Form, followed by Giratina Altered Form, and then the mythical Pokemon Hooper Confined. Best normal type Pokemon going from this is Goldengo, who, as you saw, will be OP and will be out for a long time and be a meta in this game due to the amount of resistances it has. However, its weaknesses are very common. Fire is an easy one to get hold of. If you have a Mega Charizard, it's going down. Then followed by Chandelure, which recently did have a comm day, so there should be a lot of people with this Pokemon. However, its comm move isn't the best. And then you have normal Gengar, obviously with the Mega being at the top. Gengar was going to be quite high on this list. Shadow Pokemon, there's 3 that I would go for. Now, I did miss out one, and I will go over that, and I'll tell you why in a second. So, the 3 best I go for are Shadow Miss Magius, Shadow Banette, and then the 2 Cofagrigus and Runigus. Very good Pokemon to have, however, and like I said, Dusknoir as a very good backup for this typing. Now, Shadow Golurk is in here and is quite high up on this list. The reason I didn't is because of all its weaknesses. Yes, it has a few resistances, and has quite a high attack stat and defense stat, HP stat, and also defense stat. However, it can get wiped very quickly, which is why I wouldn't put it quite high up on my list. Also, its 2 ghost type moves are very low on its own list of attacks, so it doesn't do the greatest of DPS from a ghost typing, so that's why I didn't include it on our shadow list. However, if you were to include it, it would be better than the Cofferigus and Runigus. So that is up to you guys. All these lists are based on opinion. So if you guys love using your Shadow Golurk, then carry on using it. The game is all about having fun. It doesn't need to be about having the best in everything. So if you did want to use your Shadow Golurk, go right ahead. I'm happy with anyone that uses any Pokemon in a raid as long as they're helping out in that raid. So, and then obviously Shadow Coursal, which hasn't come out yet, however, will be a powerhouse when it does, which is why I didn't include it in my tier list for Shadow Pokemon yet. Alright guys, and this is the end of this video. Hope you all enjoyed this type of content. I will be going over every typing, so if you do need any help at the current state of the game, please watch these videos, and I hope you enjoy. Please leave a like and comment if you do, and I'll always get back to you in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, and I will speak to you all in the next one.